Hi, today we're going to work on solving literal equations, which literal basically means equations with formulas. So like you'll have a bunch of variables listed below. So the first thing I want you to do is for the warm-up is to solve equations involving fractional coefficients. So if we're going to solve for x on letter A, to get rid of 4 in the denominator, we're going to multiply by 4. And so that cancels out the 4s. Whatever you do to one side, then make sure you also do to the other. So x is equal to 12 times 4 is 48. And if you want to check it, you can just put 48 in place of that x. 48 divided by 4 should give you 12. Letter B, there's a couple ways that you can get rid of a fraction. One way is you can multiply by the reciprocal, and the reciprocal means the flip of the fraction. So you could multiply both sides by 4/3. I like to get rid of the denominator by multiplying by 4. Whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. So that will give you 3x equals 36, and then divide both sides by 3. So 36 divided by 3 is 12. Letter C, same way. I like to get rid of the denominator, so I'm going to multiply by 7. Whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. Bring down your negative 2x is equal to 4 times 7, which is 28. Divide both sides by negative 2, and x is going to be equal to negative 14. All right, so what we're going to do on 1a is we're going to first solve for x like a one-step equation. So on this one, to get rid of the minus 7 on the side of the variable, we add 7. And whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. So negative 7, positive 7 cancel out, and 8 plus 7 is 15. Now then, over here on 1b, it says solve for x, where you're going to use the same process. If you want to solve for x, you have to get rid of the minus c. So the inverse of a minus c would be a plus c. Whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. So a minus c plus c cancel out, and x equals a plus c. All right, let's look at 2a. Now in this one, this is 4 times x. So to get rid of that 4 with the x, the inverse of multiplication is division. So whatever you do to one side, you need to also do to the other. And negative 12 divided by 4 is negative 3. So same process. 2b, solve for x. So to get rid of the 3, which is being multiplied by x, the inverse of multiplication is division. Whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. So x is just equal to m divided by 3. All right. Let's take a look at 3a. So this is very similar to what we were doing up with the warm-up. On 3a, to get rid of the denominator, we multiply by 2. Whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. So 1x is the same as just x, and negative 20 times 2 is negative 40. So let's do the same thing on this. Let's erase my circle right there. So if we want to solve for g, we're going to multiply both sides by the denominator, which is 4. So 1g is the same as just g, and h times 4 is the same thing as 4h. All right, let's look at 4a. So again, I want to get rid of the negative 8 in the denominator. So I'm going to multiply both sides by negative 8. Negative 11 times negative 8 is 88. So doing the same thing here on 4b to solve for y, I get rid of that 3. So y equals h times 3, which is the same thing as 3h. I always like to put my number first whenever I have a situation like that. All right, let's go to 5a. This one says to solve for y. Well, I have to get rid of that 4. So it's like a positive 4. So I'm going to subtract 4 from both sides. So I have y equals x minus 4. Let's look at b. So b, I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. So I have y equals, and I'm just going to put 6 minus 3x. So notice that the 3x goes together. It's all one term. So I have to move it over to the other side together. So that's why I'm subtracting all of 3x from both sides. And then there's nothing else I can do because it says just to solve for y. All right, let's look at 6, 7, 8. So solve equations involving more than one coefficient. Solve for x on all of them. So in this situation, if I have 2 times 3, let's go ahead and say that that is 6x equals 24. And then we would divide both sides by 6, and x is equal to 4. Now then, something else I could do, instead of putting a 6x, what I could do is actually, since it's all multiplication and I'm solving for x, I could divide by the 2 and the 3 to both sides. So those cancel, those cancel. So I have x is equal to 24 divided by 2 times 3 is 6. So 24 divided by 6 gives us 4. So in kind of looking at the same thing on number 7, if I want to get rid of x, I can multiply by both, divide by both A and B. Even though they're not right next to each other, I can still, it's all multiplication. So I can divide both sides by A and B, and they cancel out on the left. But whatever you do to one side, you need to do to the other. So x would be equal to C divided by A times B is just AB. And then let's look at number 8. So if I want to solve for x, I'm going to multiply by 2 so that the denominator will cancel out. Whatever I do to one side, I need to do to the other. And 1 times x is just x. C times 2 is going to be, I'm going to put my coefficient first, so it'll be 2c. And that's dealing with literal equations.